All right, I think I am rolling. So this is Produce 101 Talk, and I want to apologize ahead of time because I know I skipped at least 2 weeks of just dedicated Produce Talk with you guys. Part of it was because, hello! Part of it was because we had a week where it was just a vote, and I never do vote videos because there's no reason to. And then the week after that, it was the performances of the original songs. And I talked about those. Hey, Mason. I talked about those briefly on another video. I think it was the video Game Talk that I spent the first part of that video talking about Produce because there just really wasn't anything to share. But this episode, normally I wouldn't do a vote video, but the vote this time basically tells us who's going to be in the final 11. So it was important to talk about the vote this time. Also, because Mason, I don't know if you finished the episode, but because Mason, I watched with Mason and Jade and Alex, and Mason left the chat after the final person was revealed for the top 20. And so I don't know if you saw the rest of the episode, but it was actually pretty entertaining. In fact, there was a lot of stuff in this episode that I would love to see more of throughout the season, like just goofy moments and fun moments and moments that aren't about drama necessarily, more moments that show the personality of the trainees. But I digress. So if you saw the thumbnail, you saw photos, and that's because I have my print out here. Yes, the candle game was hilarious. I have my printout here of the final 20 trainees, and I highlighted who I think is going to make the final group, and like for sure, and who I think has a chance to make the final group. Now, I'm not saying that my predictions are correct because, as you guys know, I kind of pick based on who I notice or care about. I don't really pick based on who is most likely going to be the Korean vote because I strongly disagree with the Korean vote most of the time, which leads me to the first thing that we have to talk about. Suwon did not make it into the top 20, and I am livid. I hate it. I think it sucks. I think it's not fair. I think it's stupid. I think that Korea doesn't know what the fuck they're doing when it comes to voting for this fucking group. I don't see how he is less talented than Mingyu. And I know that in the season Produce 48, I had certified villains throughout the show. And through this season, I have had a few certified villains. But at the end of the day, the villain who won was Hyewon. This time, the villain of the show is not a current contestant. It is the fucking voting public. Like, there are just so many very talented people, very well trained people who have been voted off this show because they don't meet the Korean beauty aesthetic. And I just think it's a piss poor showing. I think it's going to lead to a group that's not as much fun to watch, not going to be as much fun on Variety. And specifically Mingyu in particular is a sore spot for me because outside of the fact that he can't dance, and you can look at his latest fan cam just to verify he can't dance, he can't sing, and he's got the personality of a turnip. Like, he literally is. I don't know why people didn't vote me into number one. I mean, I'm trying really hard. Come on. Come on, friend. You have to give us more. Meanwhile, you have Suwon, who's funny. Like, whenever they show little bits of his personality, he's charming. He can dance. He can sing. Like, he is what you want in an idol. And he's adorable. Like, him being little is not a negative spot here. This actually makes him perfect. Like, he is the perfect foil for fanfic ships. You got to think in the long range here, folks. You got to have a little man and a big man because the little man and the big man always get paired up in the ships. He was perfect for that. But apparently, Korea is just like, fuck your faves. And for that reason alone, I'm just like, okay. I'm basically watching this to the end because I have a committed friend group that's watching this to the end, but I really almost don't give a damn about who makes it in this fucking group. The only person that would make me riot at dawn is if Johan doesn't get in the group. He's literally the only one at this point that I'm like, I've liked him since the very beginning. He's got to make it to the end. Hello. And so let's just go through the names of who made it. I've got their names and their entertainment companies. So we've got Kim Johan from We Entertainment, Cho Sung Yoon from Yehua. I always have a hard time pronouncing that company. Han Sung Woo from Plan A, Lee Han-gyul from MBK, Kim Woo-suk from Top Media, Song Yubin from The Music Works, Sun Dong-pyo from DPS Media, Jin-hyuk from Top Media, Song Young-jun from Starship, E Song. I always want to say something else when I say his name. From Brand New Music, Nam Do-hyun from MBK, Kim Min-kyu from Jellyfish. How the fuck? Wang Yun-sung from Woolim, Cha Jin-ho from Woolim, Kang Min-hee from Starship, Tony from Hungee, Kim Dong-yeon from C9, Ham Won-jin from Starship, Koo Jung-mo from Starship, and Lee Si-jin from IME Korea. IME Korea. I don't even know what the fuck that is. I saw a thing pass. Hey, Anthony. You changed your name. I like it. Hello, Sophia. So I've named all of the contestants here, and what I find amazing is the fact that Tony is still in the top 20. And I spotted Tony in the very beginning of the show. Hey, Carolyn. I spotted Tony in the very beginning of the show. Like, when I was talking about my faves from audition, it was Le Tigre and Heelys. But as the show progressed and they were showing less and less of Tony, I'm like, okay, maybe Tony's not going to make it. Especially because a huge part of Tony's storyline in the very beginning was how he doesn't speak Korean. And he had a really hard time with being able to transition into a K-pop idol when his specialty is singing in English. But somehow or another, through hell and high water, Tony is on this fucking list, and I don't know how. I know Satellite got eliminated. Okay, so let's talk about faves that got eliminated that I am seething. Okay, Alondra, you don't know about Jellyfish. You know Vix is on Jellyfish, right? You've heard of Vix, correct? I'm sorry. I just was surprised that she didn't know Jellyfish. Okay, anyway. I'm completely pissed off that Suhwan didn't make it because this is completely unfair. He showed his talent time and time again. You can't tell me looking at a fan cam of Mingyu and then looking at a fan cam of Suhwan that one deserves it over the other. So I'm just like, again, the fuck are you thinking, Korea? Because he's not even that cute. Does nobody talk about the fact that he's missing a fucking tooth on the side? Like, he's not that cute. I'm so sad that Satellites didn't make it, Hyunbin, because he is one of the few kind of non-already debuted idols that looks like he has been doing this for years. Like, rap styles, he makes it happen. Dancing, he makes it happen. The problem is that he is unattractive. And I'm not saying unattractive in terms of, like, if you saw him on the street, be like, ugh. No, I mean, like, compared to these Adonises that are on this show, you can't put a Hyunbin next to a Sungwoo and have the public think, yeah, that guy with the big ears is okay looking. No, they're gonna go with, you know, chesticles and collarbone tattoos and beauty and love and eyes and nose. Ah, gosh, I'm sorry. Sungwoo is, goddamn, that man is gorgeous. Like, where have I been? Did no one tell me about Victon? Because I stan him. And then somebody was like on Twitter, they put these pictures, like screen caps from a show that Victon did, and it's good all the way down, guys. Like, it doesn't stop at the pecs. All the way down is just chiseled, marbled perfection. But I am off task here. Let's get back to business. Okay, So I'm upset that Satellites didn't make it because I think that he would have been an amazing contribution to this group. Dance skills, uh, rapping skills. He seems like he has a really bright personality, and he just looks like a cool guy who would love to be a part of a team. So that kind of sucks for me. Kukien from Music Works, part of my team. Honestly, between the two, he's much more attractive than Yuvin. He kind of looks like a more attractive version of Youngblood from CN Blue. He has a great voice. He can dance. He's amazing. And the fact that Korea chose almost any of these other guys over him, I don't understand it. I don't know how Tony bested this guy. I don't understand it at all. And then a surprise for me, but not somebody that I was particularly rooting for, Jinwoo, otherwise known as Hanum, whatever, the little kid. I was surprised that he didn't make it. And I think a lot of the other trainees were surprised because people kept saying throughout the elimination, all right, so what number is Jinwoo going to be? What number is Jinwoo going to be? And when they realized that he wasn't in the top 10, when they realized when he wasn't in the top 2019, they're like, okay, maybe he's number 20. And then when it was discovered that he wasn't number 20, the amount of breakdowns from different members of the top 10 was really surprising to me. There must be something going on behind the scenes that makes him endeared to them, because personally, the low spot for me is watching him try to sing. He can't. He can't sing. And watching him like just, lay down in the face of a challenge really pissed me off a lot of different times throughout the season. So, I mean, it is one thing that Korea got right, but it's also one thing that I found very surprising, that he didn't make it into the top 20. Very, very surprised. Also because it's very obvious that Mnet tried to make him the fave. Explain to me how Dongpyo was the center of his group during the original songs, but for some reason, Hanum, whatever, Jinwoo, he gets the overalls. Like, if you watch that performance back, the group performance, he looks like the center. Every part is given to him to make him the center, but Dongpyo officially on paper is the center. So, I mean, I guess at the end of the day, Mnet does what they can to pick their faves, but every once in a while, the Korean public sees through that. So now looking at this list of 20, I'm going to give you the names of the people that I am willing to bet the house are going to make it into this group. Number one, obviously, Yohan. I mean, he has been a favorite since the moment he skidded his little heely ass across the stage and we found out that he gave up a Taekwondo scholarship to be an idol. At that very moment, we all knew he's the one. He's the one. Okay, now Satellite being edited as a villain when they did the BTS No More Dream performance, I thought that would have taken him down on the elimination right after that performance, but ever since then, he's been edited as being a team player, so I don't know what the hell is going on there. But yeah, Yohan, he has to make it. Not only because he was so very charming from the very beginning, but either Alex or Mason, it might have been Mason, said something, it was Mason, it had to have been Mason, said something really important when we were talking about why it is that the public doesn't like Dongpyo, but they like Yohan. And what it is that Dongpyo, at the end of the day, always seems like he is trying too hard to court favor of the public. And I identified that the moment things started going downhill for Dongpyo was when they had the elimination and he wanted to play the orange game. And you could tell that nobody was really here for that bullshit. And it just didn't go where he wanted it to go. And I think in that very moment, that's when his downhill climb started to happen. But with Yohan, with every successive episode, he comes across as extremely sincere, extremely likable, just genuine. Like, there's never a time when I see him on the show that I think to myself, he's trying to play up to me. And it could be that he's just a brilliant actor and I don't see through his guise, but he just comes across as the type of person that really and truly is here for being an idol, that he's got the best of intentions, that he really likes the people that he works with, and that he's somebody that the children can admire. So I think that there's no way he can't make it into this group, even if he came in 20th at the last vote, because he's been so high every episode before. He's gonna make it in the group. It's just a guarantee. It's a guarantee. It's a guarantee. Next is Han Sung-woo. I think we all agree you need, yeah, I knew it was you, Mason. We need somebody that the grown-ups can look at. There's a lot of cute kids here, but there's not a lot of men here for the grown-ups to look at. Sungwoo, yeah, the babies. Sungwoo's a man. He's all man, and I need it. I need something to stare at. I need something to keep me from being the pervy Ajima that I'm coming across as. And I just want more cleavage moments from him, more neck moments from him. I need everything he's willing to give me. I need it all. So he's got to be in the group. Otherwise, what do I have to look at? Because there's nobody else on this fucking list for me to look at. Not a one. Next, we have Kim Woo-suk. He's guaranteed. I mean, he's just come in. He's ranked so high so many times that there's no way he's not going to make it. Even though, personally, I don't see what the big fucking deal is for him. And I'm not saying that like he doesn't have talent. I just mean put him in a row with a whole bunch of other idols, and I don't know that my eye would be drawn towards him. But maybe because the talent pool for this season is so fucking shallow, he comes across as a superstar. Definitely, I know that's the case for Lee Jin-hyuk, who's my other guaranteed from Top Media. Watching him rescue the turtle ship performance proved that he is an idol, and it proved how so few of them aren't ready to be an idol. And for that reason alone, he was able to engender himself to the public and definitely put himself on my radar. Because prior to that performance, I wasn't really looking for him. But when he basically told the kids, get your shit together. Do you want to win? If you want to win, I need you to quit fucking around and go ahead and perform. And it was so funny because when they were doing, after the elimination part of this episode, when the coaches were talking to the trainees about, you know, what performances they've been in, what they've done in previous performances, one of the trainers was like, weren't you the leader of Turtle Ship? And he had to tell them, no, I actually wasn't. And they're like, could fool me. Exactly, because he's just been on it. And so I think for a lot of people in the general public looking at him, they're going to think, you know what? He's proven his leadership abilities. He's a capable performer. We need him to be in the group because somebody's going to have to carry Mingyu's weight. Speaking of which, Mingyu is a guarantee for this group because the Korean public likes a pretty giraffe and he fits the bill, so he's there. And he literally looks like a giraffe to me. I don't fucking get it. I don't get it. He seems dull as fuck. He seems like he can't ever improve his skill. I don't know how he got out of F class on the very first episode. There's just nothing about him that tells me that he's in any way, shape, or form ready for this. And I expect that the choreography for this group is going to have him in the back most of the time, unless it's like a slower moment where he gets to walk to the front and say a couple of words and then carry his ass right back in the back because he can't do it. He can't do it. I haven't seen a single time during the entire tenure of this show, hey Caitlin, where he has proven that he can do any of the things that an idol needs to do. Whether it's putting on makeup, where it's styling clothes, whether it's telling a fucking joke, whether it's strength training, anything else. There is nothing that he has done that shows that he is at all equipped to be an idol. And, you know, fuck that kid, man. Fuck that kid. But again, he's not the villain. The public is the villain for voting this kid in. Next, we have Nam Do-hyun. I feel like he's assured for the group only because I feel like he provides an authentic rap presence for the group that they don't have. I realized that Jin-hyuk, I believe, is a rapper for his respective group, and I want to say that Sungwoo raps a little bit, but Do-hyun, he really is the rapper we need. He is the rapper we need. And so I'm glad to see him placing so high. I want to see him make it to the final. I need him to give me something to listen to because that's another thing that the public doesn't seem to think about. When you're buying these records, are you going to be able to listen to a pretty face? Or do you want to have somebody on your team that you can listen to? Do you want to rap that you're actually okay with hearing instead of somebody who's rapping because they can't do anything else in the group? Or do you want somebody that you're like, oh, that shit's catchy. Oh, he's got a cool voice. It makes me kind of nod my head a little bit. Next, we have Ian Sung, who is, I don't know, he's an enigma to me. I feel like he is the world's biggest airhead. Like whenever they show him doing the things that he does, he just seems like wind whistling through the pines. Like there's nothing there. But then when it's time to perform, he's like on it. He's like a baby Taemin, and it's so weird to me. Like they did field day before the elimination round, and it was Unsung and Usuk, and they were doing the what's the name of the game where you put on the headphones and the person's in front of you and they're like lip syncing words and you have to guess what they're saying. Anyway, they're playing that game. And he could not get a single clue. Like he just, nothing. Nothing at all. And even when he realized that he couldn't get anything, he seemed totally proud of himself for his performance. I can see your voice. Thank you. He seemed totally proud of his performance. Like, I totally did that. That was fun, guys. Meanwhile, the team was like, what the hell? How do you not get anything? He's like, well, I was listening to music. How can you expect me to concentrate when I was listening to music? But yeah, he was awful. He was awful. But like throughout the season, he's always looked like I'm not really here. Like if you go back to episode 1 even during auditions, he has always looked like I'm not really here. Like I'm here enough to when you say, 3, 2, 1 start, I'll start performing. But the times in between performances, I'm not really here. I'm just kind of, hanging out in the background, trying to figure out what color red they're going to give me this week. Because if you notice, his hair fluctuates in different colors of red and pink. But yeah, he is not there at all. And I think that's going to be great when they go on variety. I agree, UL. When they start going on variety shows, he is going to be a gold mine because he is never going to get anything right. Him on like Weekly Idol or something, he's going to be hilarious. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. When you see all these names, okay, I'm sorry you don't know all the names. I would give you pictures, but basically, he is the redhead. Like, he's been red throughout the entire season, so that should give you a clue. And then the last person that I feel like is a for sure for this group, just because, like, he had a big presence near the beginning of the program, and he's kept a presence all throughout, is going to be Hyungjun. And I picked him because, first of all, he was one of the few people in the very beginning of the series that I gave a nickname to. He was a Smile Now, Cry Later. And he just always has been like on the verge of a nervous breakdown, but for some reason the public just loves to fuck with his emotions and he keeps making it into the top. And I would love to see his breakdown when they do this last episode. If for no other reason, I need to see his face when he gets called into the group. Because his face, when he gets called into the group, I promise you, will be a memeable gif. I promise you, it is going to be the thing of Twitter legend. Because the first time he got voted to go through to the next round, he literally... It is so funny. It was so funny. So, yeah, I can't wait to see his face when he makes it into this group. I live for his moments of emotional insecurity, and that's a really evil thing for me to say, but his moments of just like sheer and utter devastation make me howl with laughter. I'm an evil bitch. Okay, so those are my for sures, have to make it into this final group. People that I think are going to make it into the group, but I don't know shit about them, so I could be wrong. Cho Sung-yoon from Hyewa? Is that how you say that? I don't know. I don't know this kid for nothing. Every time I see him, I'm like, oh, it's the kid with the bad haircut. But I really know nothing about him. But yeah, he gets really high voted, so I figure he's going to make it into the group. Cha Jeno, he's not my fave. He's Alex's fave. He's not my fave. And I'm sorry if it hurts anybody's feelings for me to say this. His whole gimmick this season is I'm not a robot. He has yet to prove to me he's human. And I don't know if it's because of the way his face is. And I don't say that to be mean. I actually say that like in a real way. He has a small mouth and his eyes aren't super big. So I don't think a lot of expression carries across his face most of the time. But like even in moments where he seems sad or he seems happy, his we are way, we are we wa, we wa. Sorry, I was trying to read a pronunciation guide just now. Um, Anytime I see Juno's face, it just seems like he's here, but he's not really here. Okay, so yeah, it's his face. He hasn't learned how to use his face. And so until he learns how to use his face, he's going to be stuck with the Mr. Robot label because it's hard to be excited for somebody who doesn't seem excited for themselves. I guess that literally is the crux of the problem when it comes to people being able to relate to Juno is that when somebody doesn't seem excited for themselves, how are you excited for them? When it doesn't seem like something impacts somebody and it's directly involving them, how can you empathize? I mean, it's a science, honestly. This has to do with human biology. Part of the way that babies learn how to laugh and how to express emotion is by reading faces. So in certain cultures, certain emotions are tied to certain facial features. So let's say in America, if you want to show somebody that you're either happy or you're getting along with them, you smile. And there are certain cultures where smiling is not really big in their culture because that's not the facial tradition that's been passed down throughout the ages. And you learn a lot of what you say or what you express on your face in terms of emotion from your parents, and it all starts with you being a baby and having a very narrow field of sight and having them close to your face and feeding you emotions. And that's the reason why people smile at babies, because they're teaching babies how to smile back. And so there's this small kernel of learning that we all have in us that makes it to where we take our social cues from the faces of others. When we see other people crying, something inside of us tells us we probably are in a sad moment, or maybe we need to be paying attention because something bad has happened. Well, again, with Juno, because his face is just so blank, you can't feel for him because it seems like he doesn't have feelings. And so I say all that to say, I don't have anything against this kid in terms of his talent. He can sing, but he needs to learn how to work his face. It's another muscle, just like your dancing muscles, just like your vocal cords. Your face is another muscle. He's got to learn how to work his eyebrows. He's got to learn how to work his cheeks. He's got to do more. So that's my main complaint for him. And then lastly, as I tagged, that probably is going to make it into the group, is Kim Dong Hyun. I don't know anything about that kid. Flat out. I know nothing about him. So I can't tell you anything about him. I know nothing about him. He's just in here because he gets a lot of votes. All right, so you have the people who I picked kind of as who I think will be in the final 11. And then after that, it was the assignment of songs. So they had 2 songs that they get to choose from. One is called Boy, and the other song is called what is the name of the other song? I don't remember what the name of the other song is now. Shit, I should have made notes. Anyway, there's 2 different original songs that the boys are going to be teamed into. And for one of the original songs, it is Hui from Pentagon and his production group Flowblow, To the World. Thank you, to my world. And then the other group, To My World, their song is written by the same people who helped to write You Got It. So they have a board, and depending on your ranking, you get to choose what position you want. They start with lowest ranking to highest, because a person at a higher ranking can knock you out of your position. And it was kind of fun to see the vicious side of trainees. Like, nobody was super vicious, but it was kind of nice to see, like, I'm going to knock you out your place. You know, it was drama without being like, ooh, someone's being bad. It was like, oh, it's funny because this is just how you play the game, period. End of speech, let's keep going. So that was kind of fun. And then after that, it was the teams kind of going in front of the vocal coaches and expressing themselves about, you know, this is how I sing, da 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 da. But before that, people were trying out for positions, and there was just a lot of silliness and like trying to say lines and doing little dances and stuff, and it was just fun to watch. Like there's not much I can describe about it. It was just fun to watch. For me though, the highlight of the last hour of the show was Johan. Absolutely. Because Johan, I guess, trying to show that he could be the sexy sinner, proceeds to like fall to the ground and go spread legged, and I'm just like, Johan, what are you doing? What are you doing? I understand that Sungwoo got a lot of play off of his man cleavage, but can you not be out here spread eagle on the ground? And it's like, it was that, and I think there was a ground hump that he did at one point. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is wrong with the baby? But yeah, him and Sungwoo, both of them, they're kind of thoughty. But yeah, the episode was entertaining. It was one of the more entertaining elimination episodes throughout the entire series. And I was glad that it was entertaining because I wanted to turn that shit off at the end of the voting. I honestly did, but I'm already neck deep in this thing, so I figured I need to go ahead and go throughout the whole thing. But now that we're getting towards the end of the line, I think it is important to reflect on Produce and kind of the future of this particular franchise, because I'll be honest with you, I think that this season is the start of the downgrade of Produce, to be quite honest with you. There are a number of things that happened this season that I think that were annoying for the public. A few things that were precedents that we're going to see repeated that are going to be annoying for us as the viewing public. And things that I think didn't necessarily work in the show's favor. One of the things that I don't think worked in the show's favor was the number of people that were brought onto the show that were in pre-established groups. Hear me out. I get that everybody was super jazzed about how Produce Season 2 changed the fortunes of New East. I'm gonna sneeze. We're all really excited about that. And, you know, the fact that we're seeing the fruits of that labor still to this day, thank you, bless you. It's really great to see that happen, you know, because New East was a group that honestly, Pledis did them dirty. They started out fairly strong, but because Pledis just doesn't know what the hell to do with their lives, they let New East flounder. And it's so crazy to me because New East floundered at a period in their careers when they had some of their best music come out, and it really hurt me. It really hurt me that they were releasing some of the best music in their catalog, and they were doing worse than they had ever done. So having their redemption arc be played out on Produce was really, really nice. But now you've got groups that really, in a lot of ways, almost feel like rookie groups coming into Produce. And for a lot of us who are watching the show, yeah, it's nice that they have a redemption arc, but at the same time, you know, a lot of trainees who haven't even had that first chance to debut got thrown by the wayside in favor of these artists that have had their shot. You know, if you look at who I predict to be in the top 11 for the show, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 people. No, well, yeah, close. Well, in this top 20, you have at least 4 people who have already debuted. Because Woosuk, Yuvin, Sungwoo, Jinhyuk have already debuted. And if the other member of Victon hadn't dropped out, that would have been 5 people who had already debuted that would be a part of this group. And I think that it lessens kind of the excitement for those of us who are watching the show, because one of the things that's really exciting to see is who's going to blow up after the show is over. What new... Okay, there you go. So Hanyo and... Okay, so We are has already debuted, and Hangul's already debuted. So yeah, you've got so many already debuted people here from groups that I don't know. So that's the reason I didn't know they debuted, because these are groups I don't know. You have all these people who've already debuted. And it's like, okay, it's cool that you kind of were able to work your way to the top. But in the instance of somebody like Jinyuk, he worked his way to the top using skills that he gained from already being an idol. When the whole point of the show is molding people and molding talent into a future mega idol group. So that's the reason why I say, like, it just feels to me like the public feels like it's a stacked vote. I know personally, I kind of feel like it's a stacked vote. And I think they really need to pull back on the number of already debuted people that are allowed to compete on the show. That's my opinion. You may not agree with me, but one group with their members is fine. 4 or 5 groups. What's the next season going to be? Is it going to be half already debuted and then half new trainees? I bet that is. Oh my gosh, I bet that is going to be the next season. I bet that. Fuck me. Why did I even say that out loud? Why did I even say that out loud? Okay, so the next season of Produce is probably going to be half already debuted girls and half new girls. Fuck me. Shit. Okay. But yeah, I don't want that. I don't want that. And I don't feel the same way that Carolyn does. I don't feel like I don't want them to win so that they can go back to their groups. Because I understand, just from looking at New East, you still need that one to be in the main group. Because New East W did okay, but they didn't do nearly as good as a united New East did. And for that reason, I feel like we still need one to make it into the group. But I think that in the effort of making it a little bit fairer for everybody else, in the future, could Produce only maybe pick one person from every already debuted group to be on this show? Like, is that fair at least? Is that fair at least to say, you know what? You can already be in a group, but only one person from every group should be allowed to be on this show. Yeah, so having two, I don't think that's right. I think it needs to be one. But yeah, that's how I feel about that particular thing being a precedent that kind of tore the series down for me. Number 2, let this be a lesson to every single trainee that comes on next season. Don't do shtick, because it doesn't work. Dongpyo, I don't remember from his audition. Like, I'm just going to be really honest with you. During his audition, he didn't particularly stand out to me. When he made, like, number 1 boy for the Hachima song, I remember, or the Ichima song, I was like, who is this kid that made number 1? I don't even remember seeing him before. And once he made, like, number 1, I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna pay attention to him, because whoever gets the number 1 spot, usually that turns into something big over the course of the season. Then he did the Avengers thing, which was kind of played out because it's already been done every season before. Then he wanted to play the Orange Game because that was played during the Produce season. And it just became like, he seemed like somebody who, kind of like people that go on Survivor that study reality television. He seemed like he went on the show and he was like, okay, I know it's worked in the past. I know what role I need to play. I'm going to play this role. And I think because Mnet is such a fucking sucker for formula, they let those storylines that Dongpyo was trying to be a part of be broadcast. And in the end of the day, that brought him down. Like, he played every single note that you're supposed to play on reality television. You're supposed to play, I'm so cute. You're supposed to want to do quirky things. You're supposed to try to develop a ship if you can. You're supposed to cry because you've taken a downfall and you want to get pity from people. You've tried to play the team player. You've tried to be the one who maybe went against the team. Like, he's hit all the beats. And hitting all the beats did not work for him. And so I personally think that next season, Mnet needs to be really careful about editing in those same familiar beats, because people are going to start looking at those moments and being like, I hate that kid. Like, really and truly, it's going to be, oh, that kid is doing the thing that the other kid did on season 3 or season 4 or season 2. We've already seen them do that. They're copying. I don't want that. Because already in this season, it has happened. There was one trainee whose dad was on the street holding up a sign asking people to vote for his son. Why is it that the very next week, Peak had his dad fly in from out of country to hold up a sign asking people to vote for his son? Then they had trainees whose families were handing out like little goodie bags saying, please vote for my son. And then the next week, more families were doing that. Like, it's just one of those deals where it's ultra repetitive. And I think if Mnet wants to do us a favor, they need to sit down with the reality TV crew and they need to script different gimmicks for this coming season, because we are tired of seeing that over and over and over again. We're tired of the storyline, character development, different context. Okay. We're tired of the storyline also of, this might be my last chance to perform and I just really need people to support me because this has been my life dream. The reason why I say I'm tired of that is because don't think that every other 100 boys who was in the room when you guys did auditions didn't feel the exact same way. Every single trainee who walked on that stage thought that that might be his last time to perform. There are trainees that came on that show and went off that show that none of us ever really paid attention to. Never could remember their face if it was put to us in a mugshot lineup. And so this whole feel bad for me because this might be my last time performing, no one feels bad for that. If you really want to give us some sob stories, give us some like American Idol style sob stories, to be quite honest with you. Start telling the story of, I have a disabled brother, or start telling us the story of, I overcame my own disability to be able to appear here today. I had a speech impediment. I had, knock knees, whatever else like that. Take us to a couple of hometowns, that would be great. Put up a map of Korea and show us where all the different trainees come from and how far they traveled to get here, or maybe show us some of their different talents. Like maybe have, a cooking challenge or a puzzle challenge or something else like that. But, give us something different that we can kind of pin our hopes on or pin our opinions on, because we're really tired of the, I have to make center because if I don't make center, I'm not going to make it into the next voting round. Or, I need to be the main vocalist because I never get to be the main vocalist. That kind of stuff, that's played out. That is completely played out. We don't want to see any more of that. It's over. It's done. Let us move on. Yeah, Yenna from IZ*ONE was extremely ill as a kid, but they never showed that, and they should have. Um, okay, so this was off topic, but not really. What was my favorite concept song? My favorite concept song from this last round was probably Super Special Girl. I'll be honest with you. Super Special Girl is a favorite for me because it reminds me of SHINee, and I'm a sucker for that sound. But in terms of like songs that I think were performed the best as a total package, You Got It was the total package. You Got It really was the best. And then Move was the only song out of all the songs that were performed that I could literally hear what it would sound like with a real idol group on the radio, because I imagined Block B the entire time. Like the entire time I heard Move, I could actually figure out like what parts Taeyeol would sing, what parts Zico would be rapping, where Pyo would be. I mean, Park Young, all of it. I could see the whole thing clear as day in my mind's eye. So like Move to me has the most radio potential. You Got It was the best performance overall, matching vocals and choreography and stage presence. And Super Special Girl was the song that I would play because I love that style. So those are my faves. And then the last thing that I think we've learned from Produce that Mnet really needs to hear, and you need to hear it now, because if you don't hear it now, you're going to lose a lot of your international audience. You've got to find a way to allow international audiences to vote. I'm not saying that you should let us vote for all the things. I'm not saying that at all. But like, I have an Mnet account. In order to order M-Wave CDs. So I have an Mnet account for that. I also have a Line account. I have a Kakao account. Granted, they're not Korean Line and Kakao accounts, but I have these things. Mnet needs to find a way to allow international fans to vote if they want these to be international groups. I mean, they spent so much time throughout the season talking about Billboard. I get it. You want the clout. I'm not saying that that's a wrong thing to chase. I'm just saying if you want it, allow us to pick members that will get us to buy these CDs, that will make us interested. And so the way that I think this can be done is Mnet needs to have a Produce app. The Produce app, you have to register using a Kakao Talk ID or an Mnet ID or a Line ID. You should be allowed one vote and per ID. That's not a big deal. The way that they can do it is they can take the international votes and they can use the international votes to pick one person or preferably 5 people to make it into the next round. I would like 5 people, but I know that's asking a lot. So if they could just do one person, that would be awesome. Because what that would do is that would cause international fans to start running campaigns for their favorite trainees to try to get people to vote for them. And then during the course of the show, they could be like, okay, these are all the people that the nation's producers chosen. Our international producers chose this person. And every week, international fans would be watching to see if if your favorite made the international fans' choice. I think that would be amazing. I think it would be brilliant, and I think it would make us feel like we're being heard. Because, quiet as it's kept, when it comes to buying these albums, you don't get million sellers based on Korean buys alone. You get that based on Chinese fans buying and Japanese fans buying and your Thai fans and your Malaysian fans and your Filipino fans and your Brazilian fans and your European fans and your American fans and your Canadian fans. We're buying these albums and we're buying them at a premium to have them shipped to us all over the globe. So, throw us a bone and throw us a trainee. Throw us a trainee. It doesn't have to be a whole bunch of them. I'm not saying we should be able to vote for half the cast, but I think you should give us the solid and throw us a trainee. Or at the very least, have your group of international trainees, like guys that come from different countries, and out of that pool, start narrowing it down to where the group has at least one international trainee. If you want to do it that way for nation producers to vote for. But you've got to find a way to start letting us vote, because we're so supremely unhappy with these groups. And, I think that there's a lot of people that have forced themselves to love IZ*ONE. I'm not that bitch. And I know a whole bunch of people who aren't too. Not like IOI. Definitely not like IOI. When IZ*ONE's contract dissolves, I won't be looking for a comeback for them. I'm actually excited for the IOI comeback, even though I didn't even watch their season. But the ladies that comprise IOI were super fucking interesting, so I want to see them come back. But yeah, you've got to do something, because the groups are getting weaker and weaker. They really, really are. So those are the things that I look back on this season of Produce and I feel like need fixing. Also, can you chill on some of the ads? I realize that you need the in-show ads in order to have sponsorship and to get the production costs paid for. I get it. But can you find a way to make these ads interesting? For instance, they did the ad for Forensco, the makeup, and they did a makeup tutorial class where people were just fucking around with the makeup or whatever. If the makeup is so waterproof, have them do a bucket challenge where they put the makeup on their face and then we throw buckets of water on their head and see, oh look, the makeup didn't wash off. Something fun. But the ads that are just them sitting around talking about, oh, we got face masks, we love face masks so much. You can't tell me that a 19-year-old boy is super excited to get a box full of face cream. I refuse. And I'm not talking about gay or straight or anything like that. I'm talking about just a 19-year-old dude being excited about getting a box full of face cream. I don't buy it. So, if you're going to do these sponsorships, Find a way to incorporate them. If you're gonna do TikTok, then the TikTok thing should be, okay, we're gonna do a TikTok challenge and everybody's gonna record a TikTok, and whichever TikTok gets the most views, next week you're gonna get a prize. And that could be a part of the show, is watching them film their TikToks so that people can then go onto the Mnet TikTok account, watch the ones that they think are the best, and then at the end of the week they're like, okay, and this is who won. You know, find a way to make it make sense instead of having it shoved in like Subway on a K-drama. And for those of you who watch K-dramas and know what I'm talking about, use the MVP. But yeah, find a way to make it make sense, you know. And also, Mnet, I know this is it's a lot to ask for. I know it's a lot to ask for, so I'm sorry I'm doing it. But I want to put it out there. During the Produce 48 season, you sold merch for the show. You sold Produce 48 uniforms, like the t-shirts and shorts. You can buy them on Yes Asia if anybody's wondering where you can purchase them at. Can you please sell me the black Produce 101 shirt, the Produce X 101 shirt? Can you sell that to me? I need the black long sleeve. There you go. That's my final ask. But anyway, thank you guys for watching as I sit and I rant and I rave, because I know that I have been hard to watch this season. I know I have, but this show has been hard to watch this season, to be quite honest with you. The first season of Produce I ever watched, like full episodes of, was Produce 48. That season was fun to watch because the Japanese trainees brought it every single episode. Like, just by sheer personality alone, their optimism, their enthusiasm, their drive and their desire to learn Korean, to learn the routines, and to make it work for them, it drove me. It drove me to want to see them succeed. And I still feel like the public was cheated by the small number of Japanese trainees that made it into the final group. This season, it just seemed like no one gave a damn. It just seemed like everyone was going to cry their way or wink their way into a final position, and you just didn't see as many stories of people training and trying to learn the moves. Instead, it was crying about positions. So, you know, I apologize if I didn't make it fun for you guys this season to talk about Produce. I really am sorry, but I did the best I could in every way that I could. And at the end of the day, the only way I can make these reviews better is if they make the fucking shows better. Quite honest with you. So, to not end it on a sour note, I thought I'd show you something real quick. It's not unboxing, but I want to show you something. This is my Haze single that just came in. It's the We Don't Talk Together. And I just want to show it to you guys because it is beautiful. Like, it is so cool. It is a hollow envelope. It comes in this plastic that covers the envelope, and then there's a sticker on the back. I haven't opened it yet because I just don't want to disturb it, but I haven't seen that many unboxings of it, so I thought I'd just show it to you guys real quick so that you can see it. Thank you, Theodore. I'm going to try while we're here to see if I can ease this sticker up. See, there's a sticker right there. K-pop companies, why with the stickers? Why with the stickers? God damn, I'm not going to be able to get it. I'm sorry. I was going to do it just now, but I could feel it starting to tear, and I'm not about to do that on camera, so I'm going to have to do this when I have a little bit more time to open it up. But it's really super beautiful, and if you guys weren't aware that Haze has a new single, please listen to it. It's produced by Suga from BTS, and then he and Haze helped to write the lyrics. It's just a really great song, and it's a return to a more upbeat sound for her that we haven't heard in a really long time. So I highly encourage you, if you're not going to pick up a copy, at least listen to it, because it's well worth your time, and the video is entertaining. Basically, she's in love with a skeleton, so who doesn't want to watch that? Thank you again for watching, you guys. I appreciate you so much, and I will definitely talk to you later. Bye.